Hey guys, this is just a bit of a highlight reel of a Paladin arena run I had just recently. Well, here's the draft. One of the first picks was actually really tough. Got an epic straight off the bat. Between Sea Giant and Avenging Wrath, ended up going Sea Giant because I think it was just a little bit better. Avenging Wrath's a bit clunky to play. 6 mana only does 8 damage. It's like, pretty good against aggro though, but I don't know. I think Sea Giant worked out pretty well. Next couple of picks, pretty straightforward. I don't know, I wasn't sure about the Maiden on the Lake, but it seemed to fit in alright. The Tuskajasa was good. Psychotrons feature heavily in this deck, and then I just picked up a couple of 2-drops. Filefin Inquisitor I thought was pretty handy. Did come in pretty useful, but there's my second Psychotron, who makes pretty strong appearance. Does pretty well, has like ups and downs, for which I'll give you the complete breakdown a little bit later, but we'll see how we go for now. So lots of weapons. This deck, like I was thinking, this is one of those big decks. But anyway, we'll jump into some of the games. This match against another Paladin, I think, was at 1-0. Didn't start as I'd hoped. Got absolutely smashed by a rogue deck, which is out of this world. But anyway, starts off pretty normally. 2-drops. Everyone trained 2-drops, just trying to play on curve and stuff like that. Went for the Warhorse here because I think if I can trade it into the big old Troggy, it would have been really good. But this guy's got plenty of answers, and that's one thing about Paladins, they generally have a lot of buffs. And here's the old Psychotron. Now, one of the things I liked about the Psychotron is that it's a win more card. I think when you've got the board and you want to hold the board, you just play the Psychotron. And it's especially good against classes that don't have hard removal, kind of like your Paladins, Druids, Shamans, Priests, things like that. So he froze my first one, but he had to run his Trog into it anyway, and I got the Argent Lance to kill the Frost Elemental, and I just played another Psychotron. See, that's the kind of thing with Taught Minions anyway, is that you have to attack it, as he does. Similar to his guy's Fen Creeper just now, I basically have to run my Frostwolf Warlord into it. But luckily enough, I get the boar off the Tomb Spider, so I can kill the region as well. After this, I think I just decided, well, I'm gonna go face because there's no point if I keep trading. This guy hasn't showed me much answers because the Frostwolf Warlords live for so long. So, drop my hand, kill some of his board, kill the Azure Drake, because Azure Drake could be bad because of a spell-powered consecration, but he forfeited anyway. The next game was against the Hunter. This was the one right after the game previous. Shows a little bit what happens to the Psychotron when you just sort of play it, not to, protect anything or back up your board. Starts off pretty normally. I drop the Direwolf and he gets the Horse Rider right into it. And then when he plays the Acolyte Plane, I'm thinking either Warhorse or True Silver. Warhorse, because I get something on the board which is pretty important against the Hunter, but he quick shots it anyway. I dropped the Psychotron this turn instead of True Silver him because I think I can sort of tempo him out in the next couple of turns, but he gets the Houndmaster, which is really good for him, but I just use the Argent Lance anyway. Now, with the Ball of Spiders, I should have just gone face with the Harvest Golem. Argent Lance to kill off another one's pretty decent, but he gets the Tomb Spider, plays it down, and I don't think he was expecting the Desert Camel to produce anything, but I get the little Squire, drop the Stormwind because I have a pretty big board, I can just trade into it and hold on to it. For him, Call of the Wild is kind of what he needs to get himself out of this position, but he has something better up his sleeve. Locks his bow, draws, fires, bang. And rightfully so, that was pretty astounding. Oh well, he falls off his chair because of it, forgets to finish his turn, but after that, I'm thinking one or two things. Back to why the Psychotron is so good, I think basically it just stops him from being able to clear my guys without some spell of some sort. And the spells are a premium in Arena. So I just buff him up, okay, he clearly doesn't have a way of dealing it. I just buff him up, run, get rid of the Patriarch, get rid of the Stable Master because that represents the most damage on the board. And he plays Mooklas plus the Secret, and I was having a bit of trouble figuring out what I should do because I didn't know what the Secret was. It's either freezing or explosive. Now, if it was explosive, I didn't have lethal because it would kill both my Squire and the dude. So I just reinforced first, which I don't know if it's the right idea. Run that guy into the Mookless champion just to check for freezing, and it was. Luckily enough, I still had 10 damage on the board, so ran that through there and close out the game. That didn't play around Bear Trap or Explosive Trap, but didn't really matter. He had the freezing, and I got the W. On to the next clip. It was another Paladin, I believe. Yep, there he is. I think I was 4-1, 4-1 at this point. Pretty action-packed game. Starts off pretty simply. I got the Vilefin out there so I can get my little Murloc dudes, and he has the best card in the game. Now, this is where the cogs started to turn a little bit because I had some pretty tough choices to make. He trades into my Squirming Tentacle, which is probably a good idea, but he's got all these little dudes on the floor, so I didn't know whether or not I should match with, say, the Horned Creeper plus another dude, or just kill off his Trog. I decided to kill off the Trog because it's probably the best play, and now I have a weapon in hand, plus turn 5. I got a lucky draw with the Squire and managed to do what I wanted to do the turn before. Anyway, I kill off his Worgen because I've just got to keep taking off whatever's big threats on the board, but he's still got the Pit Fighter, which I'm lucky that he put into Crucible range, but I go with the Armored Warhorse instead because if I get lucky, then I get to kill the Pit Fighter and play the Sea Giant, but I play the Sea Giant anyway. Waste the coin because I miscalculated, I was a bloody idiot, I wasn't paying much attention. And he just trades into me like I thought he would. Decides to go face, and this is where taunts start to make a big impact on how the game plays out. I get to kill off his 2 big dudes, and he doesn't have enough on board to kill my Sea Giant. So what I get to do, plus I have the True Silver in hand, so I get to kill whatever he basically plays with that instead of my minions. So what I'm now able to do is just drop taunt after taunt after taunt in front of my Sea Giant and protect it. If he doesn't have any way of doing that 3 extra damage that he needs, he has to keep getting past my taunts, which, as we can see, he doesn't. He just keeps matching my board, trying to drop cards to contest as best he can. So I had the Psych-o-tron into the Senjin. Now I've got these 2 big guys hiding behind taunts that he has no chance of touching. And that's enough to get me the win, because he can't kill either of them. Now the next game is a typical, I would say, matchup between a Mage and a Paladin with a few WTF moments. It starts off pretty normally. I coin out the Horned Creeper because I have a Dire Wolf in hand, so I can challenge most 2 drops he plays. This turn 3 was the first RNG moment that went against me. I think there was a few others, which is kind of surprising the way he played it, because he didn't even ping my minion the first turn, he just pinged face. But he drops the Arcane Missiles, gets 2 onto the Dire Wolf, and he's still not pinging my minion, he's still pinging face. Now, I have no idea what that means, but I dropped the highest threat minion on the board, and luckily enough have the True Silver in hand to deal with his 4-drop, and he keeps having these really weak turns. So turn 5, drop a 7/7, sounds good to me. Clear off what's mostly a threat on my board, and this is basically telegraphing that he has Flame Strike, by the way. Brings my 7/7 into range with the Frostbolt and doesn't trade into the Grizzly. Of course he got Flame Strike, so I play the Scarlet Crusader because I know it doesn't die to it, and drop a few others. But here is a replay from earlier on. I think this was the first game. This is why I probably lost that game, to be honest. Mad Bomber all into the Harvest Golem, beats the crap out of it. He gets to weapon up, take it for free. Now here's back to present time. 1, 2, 3. Absolutely beats the crap out of my board. Plays the Face of Summoner as well, and look at that, Scarlet Crusader. That's an interesting little switcheroo we did there. But we're still doing okay for the most part. I still have taunts in hand. I decided to play the Azure Drake so I can get more draw, plus the Squirming Tentacle just so I can curve out. Playing a little bit into Flame Strike, but he trades so he probably doesn't have it. Kirin Tor into a Secret is always really good for a Mage. Now I tested for Mirror Entity and I was thinking it's probably something to do with spells, but totally forgot about Effigy and killed his 6 mana minion, highest cost on the board. So that was a misplay, but I bring him within striking distance, plus I have taunts in front of my Cult Master, so that means I'm going to draw a few more cards. Now this is where it gets a little bit hairy. I had a few options. I was thinking a quality play, maybe Tomb Spider into something cool, then Psych-o-tron just to block out the board and soak up some damage, but I think I ended up going with a decent one with a slight misplay. I could have actually played the Tomb Spider ahead of the dude, but he gets a pretty bad top deck 2-drops, pretty brutal. He managed to clear up my Sea Giant, but I just get some more big guys out on the board, 2 5-drops, not much you can do about it, especially when he's top decking 2s. Get the Kings for the win. But yeah, flooding the board versus clearing the board is basically how Paladin and Mage goes. Now, this game I wanted to show because this shaman, I think it was at 6-1, had the craziest deck I've ever seen. The start is pretty tame. My Tide Hunter into Scarlet Crusader, I decided to go face because he has to trade into my taunt anyway, most likely. And he plays the Armani, which is a good target to develop my True Silver on, plus I just get to keep the ball a little bit. And bang, Flame Wreathed Faceless makes me use my equality and trade and just have enough mana to do it after that. So I end up with a pretty bad turn, but his 3-drop I can kill with my True Silver and play the Pit Fighter. Now here is where our good friend Psych-o-tron comes back into play. He, luckily for us, doesn't have any way to kill it. He decides to crackle, trade into it, but he can't play any minions, so what do? Just taunt again and keep the face damage up. From here we'll slow it down a little bit so we all get to enjoy the awesomeness of this moment. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Reno Jackson in arena. And it worked. Most likely it's probably going to work most times, but even still, that was nuts. Left me in a little bit of awe as well, as you can see. Can't even click properly or anything. And now it's better for me to start clearing because he is back at full health, so I just dropped the Sea Giant, but that's not all. The Black Knight comes down on my Psych-o-tron, his second legendary. He buffs it a little bit, and he's still at 27 health because of the bloody Reno Jackson, so it's probably better for me to trade again. I use my Dire Doggy effectively to kill off both of them with just 2 minions and play my whole hand, but that is not all. Earth Elemental, another big dude in this guy's deck, but unless he was going to clear most of my board, I had this game in the bag, but I can imagine that this guy probably just had an unlucky early game against me, and I was pretty fortunate to end up pulling out the win, which put me at 7-1, but it all went downhill from here. If you're ever wondering what an amazing arena hunter looks like, well, here it is. Turn 1, Undertaker. I play the Squire because I think if turn 2 rolls around and he doesn't have synergy, then I have the upper hand, but of course he does. Loot Hoarder. So I'm crawling my way back in right from the start. Play the Tide Hunter. He gets favourable trades, plus on the hunt, plus the Drog, and I've got nothing but a Squirming Tentacle, which doesn't provide much resistance because of the Houndmaster, and I've got to keep competing, so I just go Scarlet Crusader into Varfin. I want to save the coin for something more meaningful, and there is our good old friend the Psych-o-tron, except it's on the wrong side. It's protecting the crap out of his board, and I don't get the chance to make any good trades that I would like. Turn 6, Boulder Fist, of course. I wasn't sure if I should True Silver or Sea Giant, so I ended up going with the True Silver because I need like a little bit of health gain, and it doesn't matter because Power Shot into a Secret, into my death, and that was that. The game after was against a pretty good Shaman deck, but I was tilted off the face of the earth and made so many mistakes anyway, so it's definitely not worth showing. But in the end, got the 7 wins, got my gold back, and yeah, turns out Psych-o-tron's a pretty good card, really sticky, helps when you're ahead because you can hold the board like crazy. I like it better than the Fen Creeper in those matchups like Priest, Shaman, who have tough time doing 1 damage. But yeah, it was a good run, picked up a nice pack here, got a Golden Corrupted Seer along with a Flame Wreathed Faithless because I didn't have a second copy, and by the way, Tavern Ball, back in 3 hours. Anyway, that's all from me. See you guys later.